is up, Carbonation? Welcome into NFL DFS Live for Thursday, January 9th. I'm your host, Ben Hosser, joined by Justin Bales. Since there's only four basketball games tonight, we're going to talk about the divisional round DFS slates. We can give away some picks for the games, I guess, as well, or at least talk about who we think is going to win. So if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. I think we're going to start out, we're going to go over the games, I guess, because FanDuel did this thing where they split them up again. Like, the good contests are on the 2-game sites on FanDuel, whereas DraftKings, the good contests are the 4-game slate. So we're just going to kind of talk about things. But go ahead.
Didn't FanDuel do this last week, and then they also put a bunch of huge contests for
they opened contests, but they weren't as big as the other ones.
All right.
Like the 2 games have like 200K to first place contests, and then like the 4-game has like one with like 10K to first. I haven't even checked this week though, but that's how it was last week, so I'm assuming it's the same thing. But I'll probably still play the 4-game slate on FanDuel too, just because. But the actual good contests are the 2-game plays, which I guess it's not that bad. But Frank said last 4-game NFL slate until August. Yeah. Sucks.
Really hits home when you say it out loud.
It really does. But that means we're one step closer to preseason football, which is the greatest. I mean, preseason football is the best thing going. So, we're one step closer to that. I'm actually wondering, though, Bess, do you think they're going to have XFL contests on DraftKings? Because I would be all the way in on that.
Count me in. I don't know if they're going to, but did you see the rule book?
Yeah, I really hope.
Dude, it's so cool.
I really hope we get some DFS for XFL. I think that'd be really fun. Even if it's not on DraftKings, if they do it on a different site or somebody carries it, I would be all in on that, I think.
Could you imagine stacking the overtime game where they're going from the 5-yard line?
Yeah, they're just scoring over and over.
You would destroy everybody.
I really hope we get XFL DFS. That would be fun. But all right, so we're going to start. First game's Vikings and 49ers. The line's 6.5, or did it move to 7?
Vikings.
6.5 the last time I looked.
It is 7 right now.
Okay, it's 7. All right, so who do you think is going to win here? I think that, the Kirk Cousins truther inside of me wants the Vikings to be in this game, but I think with Quan Alexander and Dee Ford both potentially coming back for the 49ers, I think that's going to be enough to propel them to the Super Bowl with the Saints, not being a thing anymore, with them being eliminated. So I think I'm going to have to go with, obviously, the 49ers to win, but I think they can probably cover as well.
I think the 49ers are probably going to win. I don't know. I'm not even going to take a guess on covering, because the problem I have is that 7 points is so much for a playoff spread.
I know.
And to keep it fair, I mean, the AFC games both are 10 points. So it's the third smallest on the entire slate. But truthfully, I feel like the Vikings, I don't want to say have what it takes to beat the 49ers, but I don't think the chances are good, but I mean, I do think that they can potentially win the game, so laying 7 points is just a lot.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not sure if I would personally bet the spread of this. The problem is, if you look at things, the 49ers have not been great, against the run recently, and that's mainly been because, obviously, they've been missing Dee Ford, but Quan Alexander is a really big part of that defense, right? So getting them back, I think, is definitely going to shore that up a little bit. But Dalvin Cook looked really good last week, and he looked healthy, and he looked like he was fresh. I mean, he missed 3 games, so he had been resting for a while, and he looked really good. And the Vikings can ride him in this game, and it wouldn't shock me if they keep it close, if they just kind of ride Dalvin Cook like they did last week. Yeah,
that's what I like. He had almost 30 touches last week.
Yeah, and I think that he's going to get 30 again this week. So I think personally, if you rank out the top running back plays on the slate, you would get Cook, Henry, and Aaron Jones. I think Cook's the best play in DFS of all 3 of them.
I don't know. The matchup's just so tough for him and Derrick Henry, and it's not unrealistic to think that both Minnesota and Tennessee could fall behind early on.
Yeah.
which then like they could limit their touches. And Aaron Jones gets like such a better matchup. And if you look at his last two games, he has 23 and 25 carries alone. And obviously they give it to him in on the goal line. So I don't know. I might just take the savings with Jones.
My only personal worry about Aaron Jones is that Jamal Williams is back, and I don't know. I feel like when Jones has had those huge weeks this year, he's like just went nuts with touchdowns. Like he's had he had a 4 touchdown game. I think he had 2 3 touchdown games, or at least one of them. And I know he had a couple 2 touchdown games. So I don't know. I don't like to play him when Jamal Williams is there. Like the last couple weeks, he's been out, so it's been obvious that he was going to get work. But I'm not saying Jones is a bad play. I just think that I know Dalvin Cook's going to get 30 touches. I know Derrick Henry's going to get 30 touches. Jones, I don't really know because Jamal Williams can mix in and definitely like catch the passes. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my worry with him.
I get what you're saying. I'm also worried about it, but the last game that they played together was against Minnesota, which he had 25 touches total, which was week 16, and then I believe Williams was out week 17. I get it. I think Cook and Henry are probably safer, but I don't know. The matchups just kind of scare me because San Fran and Baltimore don't really give up a ton of points to running backs, and Seattle does really. So
yeah, I mean Jones definitely has the best matchup of the 3, so I think that's clear. From what I was looking at earlier, though, Jones is projected to be the highest owned, so that's why I would rather take Cook if he's going to be lower owned. Like the pricing, at least on DraftKings, isn't that different. I think Jones is 74, Cook's 8K, and then Henry's 82. So it's not even $1,000 difference. I think you could find it, but I don't have any problems with any of them. But all right, so I have the grossest play ever in this game, and I've been saving it to tell Bales because I just think it's so gross, and everyone's gonna laugh at me. But there's a way on DraftKings that you can make the ultimate stars and scrubs lineup on this 4-game slate. You just have to feel really gross about the rest of your team. So before I give this play away, Bills, who else do you like in this game besides Cook? Because I think Diggs is a great play on the Vikings for tournaments. I wouldn't play him. If I was going to play cash on this slate, I wouldn't play Diggs. But I think for tournaments, you kind of get the squeaky wheel with him getting mad about not getting the ball in the game last week, and then he gets a much better matchup. This week, like you said, if Thielen plays, it kind of seems like he might not play, but if he plays, he's going to be on Sherman. So Diggs kind of gets the better matchup of the two. And even if Sherman was on Diggs is really quick, and Sherman's kind of a bigger guy. So I think either of their corners would struggle with him. So I think Diggs is a really good play. If Thielen somehow misses this game, I think you can look at BC Johnson for cheap. We were talking about Cook. And then on the Niners side, Mostert's a fine play. I'm not going to play him over Damian Williams though, and it's only a $200 difference.
Yeah, I feel like he's just the pretty clear pivot off of Williams. Yeah, basically everyone's going to play Damian Williams. So if you just want to do something weird, go with Mostert.
Right. And then what do you make of the wide receivers for San Fran? Because I think Kittle's the obvious play. The Vikings have not been good against tight ends. Jared Cook had a decent game against them last week. But for the whole season, the Vikings have not been great against tight ends. And we know that Kittle is the main guy in this passing offense. And you feel pretty good. He's only 62 on DraftKings. I feel like that's a really affordable price tag for him.
Yeah, I think Kittle's the main guy. If you can get up to him, just feel free. Outside of that, I would go Deebo Samuel. I mean, he's just so explosive, and they find multiple ways to get him involved in the offense. So whereas you're relying on potentially limited targets for Emmanuel Sanders, you know that Deebo's probably going to run the ball a few times and realistically should lead the team in targets, I would assume.
Yeah. So do you mind Sanders as a pivot off of Deebo, or do you think it doesn't really matter?
I mean, you can. I don't really have any major issues with it or anything. I just think that I would just go Samuel, and I guess $200 doesn't really matter, but maybe it can help you somewhere else. If you're just playing a tournament and you're most people are going to go Samuel, I'm going to go Sanders. no problems whatsoever with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so who would you? I think a lot of people are going to try and play Kittle and Kelsey together, but I personally really need to play Mark Andrews on this slate, and I'm going to get into that when we get to that game. But who would you pick? Like, would you play them together, or would you pick one or the two, and who would you prefer?
Play who together? Andrews and Kittle?
No, who would you play between Kittle and Kelsey, or like would you play them together? Because I think a lot of people are going to play Kittle and Kelsey together on DraftKings.
Can you say that again? Your thing
Oh, my bad.
messed up.
I think a lot of people are going to play Kittle and Kelsey together on DraftKings. So would you do that? Or like if you had to pick one of them, who would you pick between Kittle or Kelsey?
I would. That's tough.
I know, it is tough. I really honestly think a lot of people, at least in like a cash build, are just going to play them both. They're both in that low 6K range to get a little bit of a discount off of the receivers. I think people are just going to play them together.
I don't have any issues with it. I feel like I like Mark Andrews potentially the most out of the three, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. We're gonna get in. We're gonna get into that in the next game, but I cannot not play Mark Andrews on slate. But I'm gonna give away my gross pick. Okay, so you're gonna laugh at me. Everyone in chat, you guys can laugh at me, but I feel like when we get to the playoffs, these obscure players have a way of like not obscure players, but just guys that are like obscure, but like they are parts of the offense. I feel like they have a way of finding. I feel like coach's scheme plays like a
Seems like you're footing around having to say this guy.
I am, because you're gonna laugh at me. But listen, we saw this with Taysom Hill last week, and these are completely different situations because Taysom Hill's actually involved in the offense. But I just have this weird gut feeling that Kyle Juszczyk is going to score a touchdown on Saturday.
Oh, here we go.
Listen, look. Okay, for first off, DraftKings, he's $3,100, right? So he's basically free. Second, if you look at his last game, his last like 4 games, he has like 3, 5, 5, and 7. Okay.
Yeah.
I would take 3 points from a $3,100 player if you're telling me that he also could get me 7. Not saying he could get 0, honestly, like he could, but if the low point for him was 3, I would feel really good about that at 3,100 because you're gonna not believe me, but there's a way that I can play Lamar Jackson, Devontae Adams, and Tyreek Hill and George Kittle on this DraftKings slate. I think I can play all 4 of those guys.
I get it.
Does it not, like, Kyle Juszczyk is someone that it feels like Shanahan's going to scheme 1 or 2 plays to him and in a must-win game, and all he has to do is hit. He doesn't have to score a touchdown. Just if he catches the ball in those couple plays that are schemed to him, he's going to destroy his price tag, and you're going to be the only one in the world that plays Kyle Juszczyk, so literally no one else is. I mean, look at anyone else on the slate that's 3K or 3,100. There's literally no one that you would feel even remotely good about, right?
No, not really, but
like BC Johnson at 33 is the other guy that I would feel decent about.
I mean, I guess I get what you're saying because when they made fun of Josh Allen for bombing it down to the fullback, Juszczyk went to Twitter and was like, that was a great idea. So
yeah, see?
Maybe they're playing in that.
They're going to scheme like 1 or 2 plays to him. If it's some type of creative pass where they throw it to him, I don't know. It's going to happen. And I don't know. I just have this feeling about Kyle Juszczyk.
But I mean, call me crazy, but Matt Breida is only 200 more.
Right. I wouldn't play Breida. I think if I was gonna play someone other than Mostert, I would just play Coleman. He's what, 3,500? That's pretty cheap.
I mean, that's fine too, but like, wouldn't you think that either of those two likely have a better shot at scoring than Kyle Juszczyk?
I think Coleman could, but I don't know if I could find $400. And I know Kyle Juszczyk's gonna catch a pass in this game. So if that's 1 point. That's 1 point for the catch right there. So anything after that is pretty good. You're gonna get some yards from him. I'm gonna get roasted when he has 0 points and like he's like,
Yep.
I'm gonna get roasted, but it's okay. I think he's gonna score a touchdown. But we can move on to the next game. So the next game is Titans Ravens. This is gonna be a fun game. How are you attacking this game? Because I definitely want to play Lamar. I think the quarterbacks for me on this slate, if you're playing 4 games, it's Lamar or Mahomes. But it's really tough for me not to play Lamar.
Yeah, I think. Well, what was that?
No, go ahead.
I think Lamar and Mahomes are like by far the top 2 options, but Tannehill for only 5,400 makes sense because in tournaments you really do need to do something out there, and Tannehill has QB1 potential. Like he's already dropped over 30 multiple times this year in basically limited games. So at 5,400, that would give you a huge edge. Whereas Lamar Jackson, is he going to score 30 plus? Most likely, but he's way more expensive. Outside of that, obviously, we both like Mark Andrews. I'm not really going to touch Tennessee's tight ends. AJ Brown is a bit cheap at 6K. I know guys like DK Metcalf, I believe, is 6,800, so a bit more expensive. And Hollywood Brown, I feel like, is kind of a slate breaker just because we know what he can do, and he's so cheap. But I don't really think that there's too many other receivers in this game that I want. Like, I'm not touching Corey Davis. I wrote him up as an avoid last week because of the matchup. He scored 0. I wrote him up as an avoid this week because of the matchup. Maybe he doesn't score 0, but he's not going to do well, I don't think. And then basically you got Derrick Henry. So, I mean, if you want to take your shot on like Mark Ingram and hope that he pounds 2 in or something, feel free. But if you're playing Lamar Jackson, just because of the way the 4-game slate is, I guess actually most people probably won't stack them. And he has caught a touchdown in each of his last 2 games. So maybe the smart move would be to stack Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. I don't really think that I would go that route this week, though.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that in my personal lineup most likely. So if you look at the Titans have been really bad against tight ends, right? So if you pull it up per game, they've allowed the 6th most DraftKings points per game to opposing tight ends, 14.2 per game. Mark Andrews has been the most stable option outside of Lamar in this offense recently, and then you have to factor in that Mark Ingram. He seems legitimately hurt. So he said that he heard something pop in his calf at practice. What was that, a couple days ago? He did return to practice today, but I think it's pretty clear he could be somewhat limited in this game. So I think that could give them a little bit more incentive to pass it. Although, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but I just think the matchup's really good. Like, the Titans are really bad against tight ends, so I think the matchup is as good as Kittle's or Kelsey's. He's cheaper. He has relatively the same ceiling, in my opinion. Maybe not entirely the same ceiling, but I mean, if he scores like a couple touchdowns, he could easily, outscore them. And he's going to be both of Kelsey and Kittle are projected for like 25% ownership. He's projected for like 12 to 15. So he's going to be way lower owned. So I think Mark Andrews is a really strong play in this slate. And I agree with you about Hollywood Brown. He's really volatile, right? Like, he's going to get you, he's boom or bust. But the Titans have been really attackable on the outside pretty much prior to them playing the Patriots. And people kind of won't acknowledge this because they just played the Patriots and everybody watched the game. But the Patriots have no weapons that you're scared of on the outside, right? Like, they have Julian Edelman who plays on the inside, and they also have like 50-year-old Tom Brady throwing the football. So I definitely think Hollywood Brown could pay off on this slate, and he's really cheap on DraftKings, so I think he's a good play as well. So I don't mind stacking both of them with Lamar, honestly. The problem for me is, so who would you pick between Hollywood Brown? You also have Sammy Watkins, who's projected for high ownership in that range, and you also have Alan Lazard from the Packers, who's 4,500.
Personally, I would probably go Hollywood just because I like his upside. But Lazard's nice because he's been seeing so many targets. And Watson does play in the slot a bit, which means he gets Vernon Hargrave. So, I mean, all 3 are solid, but I think I would mark them Brown, Lazard, Watkins, personally.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I don't think Brown's going to be high owned, honestly. So
No, it seems like he's going a little overlooked, which is weird because like it's really difficult to find cheap options on the slate, and we know that he just comes with ridiculous upside. So for him to be one of the potential cheap plays, you would think that most people would just jump on it.
right, yeah. So I agree with that. Frank said if DFS Karma was smart, they would send Ben and Bales to the combine. Yes. Hashtag send Ben and Bales to the combine. I think that's a really good comment. But so for me, outside, if we're talking Tennessee, outside of Henry, and I like Tajay Sharp. The best place to attack the Ravens secondary's been in the slot. So I think I'm not going to play Corey Davis. I don't mind AJ Brown in like tournaments, but I would rather play Diggs personally. So I don't mind Tajay Sharp for cheap. He's 3,500. Like that's really cheap. He doesn't really need too much at that price.
I mean, I'm fine with that. Has Humphreys been ruled out yet?
I haven't seen anything official on it.
Because if he plays, that's not a...
Yeah, that would change things if he plays.
Well, he would be a solid option. He's only 3K.
Yeah, so yeah, we could get really gross, man. We could play a little Adam Humphreys and Kyle Juszczyk if you want to get super
that's
gross.
what everyone's dying to do.
Yeah, for sure. But okay, so I think that pretty much does it for that slate, or for the 2-game slate. We can talk about the Sunday games here. So, I mean, for the Kansas City game, some people in Discord were talking about weather. And they're kind of worried about there's supposed to be some bad weather. I do not worry about this because, especially from a Chiefs perspective, the Chiefs always play in bad weather, right? Like it's bad there a lot when you get later in the season. This is similar to like the concept with the Packers, where the Packers are used to playing in bad weather, right? Because it's bad there often. So I think it would affect the Texans who play in a dome more than it would the Chiefs. And I'm not super worried about it from a Chiefs offensive perspective. So I think Mahomes is probably the second best quarterback play on the slate behind Lamar. I think Kelsey's a great play. I like Tyreek Hill more than Kelsey, though. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, Tyreek Hill's like one of my favorite plays on this, like the entire thing.
I think he's going to be low owned too.
I guess he's sandwiched between Adams and Hopkins.
Yeah, I don't think you have to play Hopkins on this slate if Will Fuller comes back, right?
I don't think you have to, but I really like Hopkins too because Breeland is not good, and that's who he's supposed to face off against. So,
yeah, that's tough. Okay, so before we get into that, how would you rank the top receivers? Hopkins, Adams, Tyreek Hill.
I knew you were going to ask, and I didn't want to do this. The funny thing is, these are the 3 people that I wrote up in my article for all having good matchups. I would go probably Adams, Hill, Hopkins.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So Damon Williams is he's going to be really chalky. He's pretty easy running back play, I would say, if you're playing the 4-game slate. If you're playing FanDuel where it's 2 games, like you're not going to be able to play him on Saturday, so that changes things up a little bit. But he's a pretty easy play. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think he'll probably maybe the highest owned running back on the entire slate.
All right, so where would you look at for like low ownership in this game? Because I think everybody's going to have Williams, Kelsey, maybe some Tyreek Hill, Mahomes. I don't think anybody will really be playing Watson, but I would rather play Russell Wilson than Watson, I think.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Like the way that the Seahawks offense is right now, they just have no running game at all. So it's just forcing Russ to actually throw the ball. So I think I like him more than Watson for this like specific weekend, I think.
Yeah, I think you can make the case for sure, but I don't know. I feel like I'm almost locking my way into either Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, or Ryan Tannehill. So like, I feel like I'm probably not going to be playing much of Watson or Rodgers on this slate, or Russell Wilson. I don't know why I said Rodgers.
No, I agree with that. So do you like anybody from the Texans? I think if you want to feel really gross and you want to just barf when you look at your team, you can play Carlos Hyde. But that's really it. I like Hopkins, but I'm not playing him over Hill or Adams. And I wouldn't play him over Diggs either, I think, like if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, get weird with Hopkins. I'm actually fine with Carlos Hyde, kind of. I don't think he's that bad, and we always have the revenge narrative. Now it's in the playoffs, so maybe they're just going to pound it with him. I think you can take your shot on Darren Fells, too. I believe he is tied with Hopkins for first on the team in red zone targets this year, so you're looking for a cheap tight end to score a touchdown. Fells makes a lot of sense.
Especially if Akins is out, I agree with that. And Fells almost scored a touchdown last week. He was really close. He got tackled at like the 2 or the 3. So I like Fells a lot. I think that's a good call. Brian said, doesn't game script set up for Watson in case he's a big favorite? Yeah, Watson's honestly like a new version of Blake Bortles. He's like the garbage time king. But I don't know. The Kansas City's defense has been legit, in my opinion, like down the stretch. They've played really well. I don't think the Texans can win this game personally. But that logic does make sense that they're probably going to be trailing and just throwing. But I have no confidence in Bill O'Brien as a coach whatsoever. Watson had a big game last week, but he also had a rushing touchdown. So if he doesn't rush for that touchdown, it's probably not as good of a game. But I don't know. Like, I don't think Watson's a bad play, but I would personally I would play Lamar over him. I would play Mahomes over him. And I would play Russell Wilson over him. So I guess if you want to change your logic to FanDuel where it's 2 games only, you have Mahomes, you have Watson, you have Wilson all on the slate. I still think I'd play Mahomes and Wilson over him, but that's just me.
What would you not play Rodgers over him?
No, just because he does have the off chance of running a touchdown in or 2.
I guess that's fair.
I can't play Aaron Rodgers, I don't think. I just don't think I can.
I mean, he threw the ball, 55 times against Detroit?
I just don't think I can do it.
Don't you think they're setting up to, like, Aaron Rodgers has had this terrible season, which isn't even really true. He just hasn't had the touchdowns because Aaron Jones has so many. Don't you think they're kind of setting up the Aaron Rodgers is taking us in the playoffs type thing?
They could, but so for me, okay, so if we're talking, I'm probably going to bet the Seahawks in that game. And I just think that caution for you guys that watching this, Bales is a Packers fan. I know this is tilting him, and he doesn't want to get upset, but I know it's tilting him. If it comes down to it and I need a play from someone, I would trust Russell Wilson more than Rodgers. I'm being honest.
I think Russell Wilson could be the best quarterback in the NFL.
I completely agree with that. I think that's a good take.
The thing is, I doubt this one comes down to one play because
that could also be
Seattle's just not that
I 100% agree with you. Seattle is not a good football team. I am on board with that.
To be fair, though, I also think Green Bay is overrated.
Yeah, I just think Green Bay is overrated. It's a really weird game to me. It's a really weird game. The home account asked us what 4 teams are going to win this weekend in order of confidence. That is a near impossible question. I would say if you were going in order of confidence, I would say Chiefs first.
I'd say
I don't think
Chiefs
the Texans have any chance to win that, personally. I would probably say 49ers second.
I think I would go Ravens too.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so Chiefs number 1. Oh my God, I don't know.
Then I would say 49ers third.
Yeah, I would flip them. I would say Chiefs, Niners, Ravens. You would say Chiefs, Ravens, Niners, and then 4th you would put Packers, I assume.
Yeah, I would put Green Bay. Are you betting on Seattle to win this game outright, or are you?
I am probably gonna bet Seattle spread and money line and just YOLO it. I think I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. I mean, don't come crying to me when Rodgers takes your money.
Yeah, I mean, I won't be shocked, but it's okay. I might just make a parlay, honestly. I might make a parlay and just put Niners. I just put Niners, Ravens, Chiefs, Seahawks, just for fun. In addition to that, just to have some fun.
I mean, you do you. Okay. You know something weird's going to happen, like Houston's going to win.
All right, hey, can you pull up DraftKings Sportsbook real quick? Can you see if there's odds for touchdowns? I want to know what Kyle Juszczyk's odds for a touchdown. It has to be like 10,000.
Let me see if I can find it. It's probably something ridiculous and
Yeah,
something
I
you
might I
shouldn't be
might bet on
betting.
it. No, I might put like a low amount. I can't bet on DraftKings, but I'll have to find it on like my bookie or something because it's illegal in Ohio. But I might put a couple bucks on that.
All right. Touchdown scores. Um, oh man, they have everyone. They do not have Kyle Juszczyk.
No.
You would have to bet any
Oh,
other San Francisco 49ers, which would be
that's tragic.
two score. Oh wait, no. No, I found him.
Okay.
Kyle Juszczyk to score first is plus 2,000. To score last is plus 2,000, and two scores plus 325.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I was gonna bet that, like, if I was gonna make that bet for a couple bucks, I would just bet to score first because you're getting plus 2,000. Like, if he scores like if you're already thinking that he scores a touchdown, like I would rather bet on that he scores the first one and you get plus 2,000 compared to plus 325. So if I was gonna bet it, I'd bet him to score first, but I don't know. That's not as good as I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's actually high. Like Madison's to score is plus 550. So Juszczyk has.
I'm gonna see if it's on my bookie real quick. Hold on.
I don't know, dude. You're just throwing
I'm
money
literally
out the
I'm
window
trying
this
to make
weekend.
myself feel better about Kyle Juszczyk.
You got Seattle. You got Kyle's Juszczyk to score. Did you
Kyle
want to do
Juszczyk to
anything
score
else
first,
ridiculous?
plus 2,000, baby. Throw like $5 on it. Let's do it. But okay, so I think we covered the games. We can finish up and talk about the Seahawks Packers game. So from a DFS perspective, I think Devontae Adams is a really good play. Um, I don't really like any. I know you like Jones. I'm gonna be underweight on Jones. I can already tell, but it's not that I think he's a bad play. I'm gonna be underweight on him. Lazard, I think, is fine for his price, but I probably prefer Hollywood Brown. But I don't mind Lazard if you want to play him. I think an underrated play. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this game before I say that?
Uh, honestly, I'm not 100% sure where to go. I do like Aaron Jones. Like I have no problems there. I'm not going to touch Homer or Lynch. For his price, I think Williams is fine. Just because he could come out and like catch 6 balls. So for 4,600, it's not bad at all. Lazard makes sense. Devonta Adams is probably the top receiver on the slate. I likely won't be touching any tight end from this game, even though, I mean, Seattle's bad and Graham saw 7 targets last week. I mean, I don't like it. I don't want to play Jimmy Graham. I don't think he's good. I'm probably not going to end up playing him. And then on the other side, I mean, Metcalf's a little expensive. I do think that he's good and he's been balling out, but it's just a lot to pay when you can just get Tyler Lockett for 66 below him. With that being said, Lockett goes against a slot, which is Tramon Williams, who has just been enjoying an elite season. So I don't really know if I want to play him either. And then if you want to take your shot on like David Moore, you can, but I believe Jair Alexander is supposed to line up against him. So seems like it's shaping up for another DK Metcalf game. I just don't want to play Metcalf at his current price with the ownership he's going to get. So for me, I feel like I'm mostly just avoiding Seattle.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Russ is completely fine. I like him, but I agree. It seems like you want to play DK if you're going to play a guy here, and I don't want to play him at his price. I would rather play Diggs, 100%. So, and I'd rather go up to someone like Tyreek Hill or something. So I agree with that. Jones or Dalvin on FanDuel? I would say Dalvin. I believe Bales would say Jones, I think.
I would probably say Dalvin in cash.
Yeah.
Just because you know he's going to touch it so much. I have no problems shifting to Jones in tournaments, though.
Right. And I'm super happy that you mentioned Jimmy Graham because that's who I was about to say as I think is a sneaky play. So, one, we know everyone's playing Kelsey and Kittle. So no one's going to play some of these cheaper tight ends, which is weird because the last week everybody played Fells as like the cheap tight end, but now everyone's going to be spending up on tight ends. So I think that automatically gives you some leverage. His last 4 games, 5 targets, 4 targets, 1 target, 7 targets. So not bad there. And then if you look at the numbers, I mean, in DraftKings points allowed to tight ends this season, Seattle's second behind Arizona, and they're also second behind Arizona in DraftKings points per game to tight ends. So really strong matchup. And it wouldn't shock me if Jimmy Graham caught a red zone touchdown. You're not counting on him to be a Mark Andrews or a Kelsey and go over 100 yards, but he could easily catch a red zone touchdown. He's $3,300, right? And I would probably rather play him than BC Johnson, or I would rather play Jimmy Graham than Juszczyk. I don't know if I can make that work, but now that I realized he's 3,300 and Juszczyk's 3,100, I'm not backing down from my Juszczyk take. But Jimmy Graham at 3,300, I think is a really good play.
Not backing down.
Yeah, I'm not backing down from that.
No, I think Jimmy Graham's fine at 3,300. I don't know. I just don't think he's very good.
Right. Which player on a team that will win this weekend will have the best odds at a massive Super Bowl performance? Underlooked players who can explode. Okay, this is a tough question. So we mapped out who we thought was going to win, right? So I think that you're automatically picking someone from the Ravens or the 49ers in this opinion, in this situation, because I think that's probably going to be what the Super Bowl is. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, most likely.
All right.
I think if you're looking at the teams, though, you can just decide who would win MVP for the teams. If Baltimore wins the Super Bowl, Lamar Jackson's the MVP. That's just the way it is. It doesn't matter what happens. Lamar Jackson wins MVP.
Right. I think they're asking because there's a contest on NFFC, this playoff contest, and you can I think you get multipliers and stuff for players the farther they go or something along the lines. I played FFPC and the rules are different, but I think that's where the question came from. So I
mean, you could take your shot on someone like Deebo Samuel, who just
I was going to say Sanders. It might be Sanders for me. Sanders is totally the guy that can just randomly have a good game in the Super Bowl that you have if you think about the 49ers, you would auto think Deebo, right? I agree.
Yeah, I guess most.
But Sanders could easily just randomly have a good game if they make the Super Bowl.
I would think that if you think the 49ers, though, you most likely move to Kittle, or you just think running backs. So I think you could probably get a little lower on Samuel.
You would think Kyle Juszczyk, right?
I would if I'm thinking who could win Super Bowl MVP, Kyle Juszczyk.
Kyle Juszczyk comes out and just drops a James White-esque performance in the Super Bowl. It's glorious.
Exactly what everyone was thinking.
No, but okay, so yeah, I think it's Sanders for me or Deebo. I agree with that. From the Ravens, I mean, it's Mark Andrews, right? Other than Lamar.
Yeah,
I would trust Mark Andrews the most there.
Yeah, but I mean, I would trust Mark Andrews the most. But if you're talking a guy that just could explode out of nowhere, that's Hollywood.
Yeah. Ingram, too, if he's healthy, he could troll a 3-touchdown Super Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised. If they get in the red zone 3 times.
Yeah, but I mean, now that if we want to talk about the real team that's going to win the Super Bowl, I mean, you could Jamal Williams, I would assume, would just troll.
Okay, no. Jamal Williams actually could put on a James White-esque performance, but I just think it's unlikely.
No, me too. I mean, if Green Bay makes the Super Bowl, it would be Rodgers, and then you would have your pick between Devontae Adams and
But if we're talking through the logic of this sounds so gross. We're going to finish this up soon in the stream, but if say San Fran loses, all right, and they don't make it to the Super Bowl, and you're looking at the other 3 teams in the NFC.
Yeah.
Honest to God, the other team I would bet on to make the Super Bowl is the Seahawks. And it's just betting on Russell Wilson being magical and making it. I'm not lying. That's my honest take on this. If so, you would say Packers, right? If the 49ers don't make the Super Bowl, you would say Packers.
I don't know if I would say Packers, because
then it's
when you
Seahawks
just look at
the Vikings, I would take Seahawks.
I would take the Vikings over the Seahawks without question. The Vikings are better than the Seahawks.
I think the Vikings are better coached. I think their offensive scheme is better.
I get what you're saying with
I
Russell
love Kirk
Wilson.
Cousins, but I Russell Wilson is the guy that can just like carry a
But
team.
okay, but the way it works, it doesn't come down to just Vikings versus Seahawks. That's not how it works. The Seahawks need to beat Green Bay first.
Right?
The
Yeah,
only
yeah,
reason that I would even consider the Vikings over Green Bay is because Green Bay already beat them twice. And it's just so unlikely that you can beat a high level team 3 times in the same year,
yeah.
which would give Minnesota a potential slight edge over Green Bay that they wouldn't have over Seattle.
Sure. But I don't know. I think I would say Seahawks. So Travis, if you want to get weird, I guess like lock it or something. No one's gonna have Seahawks guys in like these playoff contests because everybody
Oh,
thought
no.
a lot of people thought Seahawks would lose to the Eagles. Me, I thought that was gonna happen, but Carson Wentz got hurt, so that kind of derailed that. But no one's gonna have Seahawks guys in like these contests.
You can also do something weird like Derrick Henry. Like you're telling me that if
Yeah,
Tennessee beats Baltimore, they can't.
I'm in on that. Honestly, I agree. And if you think about it, the only way Tennessee wins a Super Bowl or gets to the Super Bowl is like on the back of Derrick Henry. I completely agree with that.
Derrick Henry running 30
Yeah,
plus times for 180 or more
that's a good
yards.
take. And honestly, I'm picking the Ravens to win that game, but like I said this, you could go freaking timestamp this on Twitter. I said this on December 1st, I think it was. If there's any team, like I think I think whoever wins the Ravens Tennessee game is going to the Super Bowl. Like I think Tennessee would
Same.
beat Kansas City if they played. Honestly,
Yeah, I think so too.
yeah. So I don't disagree with that. I think that's a good call as well. But that pretty much does it. Hopefully this helped you guys out. Bales has content up already, dfscover.com. You can check it out for free. I'm going to have either an article or final thoughts. I'm going to decide what I want to do. But I'm going to have content up as well. Plus, you can go back and rewatch the stream. The way I'm playing this DFS slate is I'm going to try and go stars and scrubs on DraftKings for the 4-game slate. For the 2-game slates, it's a little bit easier. I'll have core plays up for subscribers, dfscover.com. We'll be in Discord talking. You can tweet us as well. If you haven't already, be sure to go subscribe to Karma Media Network on YouTube. We also tweeted out a giveaway. We're giving away a free jersey from Fanatics if this tweet gets 250 retweets, and you have to do some steps like subscribe to Karma Media Network or whatever, but go retweet that tweet on Twitter and someone's going to get a free jersey. And other than that, Bales, do you have any last words here other than Kyle Juszczyk is scoring a touchdown on Saturday?
No, that was gonna be my exact quote.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Tomorrow's Friday, so I'll have an NBA stream. There should be a lot of games, but see you guys then.